Acting Judge President Patricia Goliath was born and raised in Cape Town. She holds a BA LLB degree from the University of the Western Cape, an LLM from the University of Cape Town, amongst other qualifications. Judge Goliath commenced her legal career as an article clerk at Isa Musa and Associates, well known for the human rights-based practice and activism. She was later admitted as an attorney, notary, and conveyancer, and practiced for her own account as an attorney for 15 years. Judge Goliath served as an acting judge in the Northern and Eastern Cape, and thereafter was permanently appointed as judge of the Western Cape High Court in 2006. In 2016, she was appointed as the Deputy Judge President of the Western Cape High Court and has acted as Justice of the Constitutional Court in 2018. On the 14th of December 2022, Judge Goliath was appointed as the Acting Judge President of the Western Cape High Court. Ladies and gentlemen, Acting Judge President Patricia Goliath.
Assalamu alaikum. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge our former minister, Ms. Pando. You are a true role model for us. You show us what true servanthood is all about. I'm standing here as a woman. Firstly. Then, after that, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, and I'm a judge. But I'm just an ordinary woman who have some hobbies, and Ms. Jakut, traveling is one of it. So I'm sitting in these huge Boeings, and I sometimes worry, how does it stay in the air? But I'm so interested to get to my destination that my fear of flying, I just need to control myself whenever I fly in these huge Boeings. So yeah, but I also love Bollywood movies. I watch the Chinese movies, the Asian movies, Bollywood movies. And I must ask you guys this question. Why is it that the Patels and the Chetties are always fighting with each other? And then the son of the Patels falls in love with the daughter of the Chetties. But I must say, Bollywood, it's so vibrant, it's so energetic. So I have a love for Asian movies. And I've always been closely connected to the Muslim community. As you've heard, Rihanna and myself will get along for some time. I'm with Fazli Ali, Khairun Nisa, David. We studied together for our conveyancing exam. We went through all the pains together, our lives as students, etc. But through my travels, I have discovered one thing. It doesn't matter who we are. It doesn't matter where we come from. We all share that common humanity. And that is something that always attracted me to Islam as well, because it's such a pure religion. And as a Christian, all I can say is, we are all one. We are the same. We have the same values. And that is why my inner circle, especially in my younger days, comprised of many Muslim people. And I remember even in my matric year, my one friend, Fatima Esop, stayed in Newfields. She actually invited me. We had to go and study, but it was during your fast. So I've learned quite a lot about your religion, and that's why I respect it so much. Let me just put on my glasses. I didn't prepare a speech because I've been doing so many speeches, and I thought, so firstly, I am actually standing here as a servant. My normal demographic, I speak to the Gen Zs and the millennials. That's my demographic, not you. A accomplished business people, matured women, leaders in your own right. And I must say, I'm feeling so intimidated after speaking, Fatima Jakut, is my memory correct? Yeah? That metaphor of flying and how you can compare it with life, it's so beautiful, really. The previous speaker, Rihanna, former speakers, I commend you for your contribution in society. I have this title, I'm standing here, I'm the Deputy Judge President of the Western Cape High Court. It's a title, but you know what I've discovered? The higher you go, the more into servanthood you are. So, I'll be honest with you, you summoned me, and I came. Because I'm a servant. But you know, before I came here, I thought, I didn't prepare a speech for you. I thought, what must I talk about? Because you're celebrating women. And I said to myself, okay, it looks as if you want to hear my story, and I'm always reluctant to tell my story. So I must address a group of women, 100 women attorneys are meeting, and I had a virtual meeting with them in the week. They were briefing me what it's about. But we all know it's about women, right? But I need to know, what do they expect, what are the expectations, etc. And they said, you know, Judge, you have such a powerful story to tell. I said, no, I don't want to come and talk about myself, because my niche area is the young people and motivating them. You know, I'm a Gen Xer. I have one millennial and one Gen Z child. Are they not monsters? They are lazy. But the millennials are entitled. The Gen Zs, it's a different story. I don't know what's going to happen to the alphas. The millennials were born into the technology. The Gen Zs are technology. I don't know what's going to happen to the alphas, really. So I tried to get them to toe the line and teach them about life, because I've discovered you can have all the degrees, and I do speeches to new people, new members of the profession, when they're admitted as attorneys or advocates and so on. And I do the admissions, and then I say, I'm not going to tell you about the law or anything, I'm just going to tell you about life. Because you can have all the degrees, if you don't know how to navigate life, you have a problem. Some of us, we're oversensitive, we're easily offended, we are warriors. And like myself, I was a people pleaser. So we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. And of course, being a leader is being able to acknowledge your strengths and your weaknesses. So yeah, that's my target group. But women, I'm here for you today because I'm serving. You called me. So about my own story, and I thought, what is my story? And then I realized my story is from Cape Flats to the court. That is my story, in a nutshell. So you've heard that I did my articles at ESSA. My mother was a nurse, let me start there. My mother was a classical pianist. She was a lady, and she instilled a lot of values into me at a very young age. But she's late. And I was the only child in my family that went to university, coming from a disadvantaged background. So you've heard that I did my articles with Essa Musa, the late Essa Musa. Dear Essa Musa. I got an opportunity to do articles at a huge white firm, and then this offer came up, and because, you know, I studied from 83 to 87 when South Africa was on fire. I went to Athlone High, South Africa was on fire. I went to UWC, on fire. So obviously, I was reluctant to go to this big white firm, and when the opportunity came to go to Essa Musa's firm, of course, I declined the other offer, and I went there because that is where I belonged and felt that I fitted in to serve, considering what was happening in our country at the time. So So I did my articles there at Issa. Issa is my principal. He was my mentor. He played a very important role in my life. My dear beloved Issa. But I'll tell you a story. So he's my mentor, he's my principal. So I say Mr. Musa. I always said Mr. Musa. Yes, Mr. Musa. Huh? And you'd summons us to his office now and then, and I tell him, Mr. Musa, I'm feeling bad today. You're sending me to go and defend people. I know what the courts are going to do. They're just against us. They're just going to rule against us. And he says, Patricia, we are all a spoke in this wheel of justice. You just go and defend that client, no matter what. So he's installed a lot of values in me, but my dear Issa, the man with a good heart. So I called him Mr. Musa. So when I became a judge, now you go and greet all the judges. So we are sort of on a first name terms there at the High Court. So I'm the baby judge and I go around and I'm greeting all the judges. So I go into his chambers, I said, good morning, Mr. Musa. He said, Patricia, no, call me Issa, call me Issa. And up till today, I still struggle to do that because I have so much respect for him. He is my elder and so on. But I had a lovely time at the firm E. Musa and Associates. And I grew there. I evolved. And as the previous speaker said, what I've learned through every phase of our lives, we learn, we grow, we evolve. So when I was done there, I had a short stint at a law firm. And I ended up running this firm for this attorney. I worked as a PA and then I decided, I might as well just do my own thing. But obviously there was the element of service in it because I wanted to be autonomous. I wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to serve the community in my way, not stop doing things the way other people wanted to do it. So I opened my firm in the community and I served the communities of Langa, Nyanga, Gugule to Bishop Lavis, Alsis River. And then of course, having lived in Lotus River, I was in Ottery, in Parkwood, in Vrygrond and wherever. It's not only Rihanna Khan that was busy, I was also busy. So I sat on the pro bono committee at the Law Society also, because I must instill it in the young people, they must serve, they must work. So that's the stuff I did. Rihanna and I, we were also both examiners for the attorneys' admission exams, which we tried to transform to a certain extent, because sometimes there's a language barrier, and students cannot express themselves well, even in an oral. And Rihanna and I, we used to motivate why we should put those students through. So we wore many hats. So anyhow, when I started my practice, there were a number of attorneys who started their practice. So 83 to 87 at university, I was with Issa's firm. Around about 1991, I started my own practice. So I went to the bank. And I am a black woman. So obviously I couldn't get an overdraft. And it saddened me at the time because some of my younger colleagues, male colleagues, went to open their practices. And we spoke to each other, we meet each other at courts, and they would tell me, oh, I've got finance here and there. But in the event, I went to the manager at Standard Bank one day. I said, listen, you have given that attorney an OD, and that one an OD, and that one. And in the event, I had to fight my way in to get my OD, but my parents had to stand surety. It reminds me of how the African women suffered, right? If the husbands died, the houses couldn't be registered in their names. The eldest son must go to the eldest son, right? So that happened to me. I was an adult, degreed black woman, and my parents had to sign for me as for an overdraft of 5,000 rand. So I just made some bullet points. Let me check my bullet points here. So that I was in my element. I was serving. So my niche areas were the juveniles, women, domestic violence, and then the elderly. I don't know why it is that in our colored communities, there's such a lot of elder abuse. The gangsters there in Manenberg, I worked at the ANC, at a building there, the People Center, so I did community work there. And all the gogos came in there and said how the gangsters were taking away their pensions when it's pension time. And I think it's understated how the elderly suffer. But in any event, juvenile, I had my juvenile project because those years the juveniles weren't really protected those years. Only afterwards they could go for assessments, etc. So weekends I used to go and bail out the juveniles. An attorney must be there, otherwise they're not going to release the juvenile in the care of the parent. Today it's much easier. And I would phone, I'd do the after-hour thing, and I would demand the release of the juveniles. So those were things that were close to my heart. Yeah. Judge. That's my next stage, right? I was minding my own business, and one of the judge presidents called me in 2003. I was outside Wynberg Court because I was very much active in court, and he called me. He said he'd like to invite me to come and act in the Northern Cape, and he is my mentor, and he still is. Judge Deali Goma is retired, my mentor, and he still gives me guidance as a former judge president, etc., etc. So he phoned me in April 2003 and invited me to come in April 2004, and that was the start of my career. So, as a judge, I had to serve differently. And on my application form, they asked me, what was your greatest contribution to the law? And I could say it easily, providing access to justice to disadvantaged community. That remains my pride. That is me, and that is who I stand for. First and foremost, the people, the community, serve. It was probably last year I came full circle because although I ran my practice for 14 years, I was about 16 years an attorney before I became a judge, 15, 16 years. So 2 years ago, I came full circle. I'm officially longer a judge now than what I was an attorney. And it makes me feel old, I must say. I'm feeling like an old lady now. So currently I'm in my 19th year as a judge, and I was an attorney for 16 years. So now it's about service at a higher level. I'm not in my groove, I'm not in my zone, but I need to serve differently now, right? So we as judges, we have our own challenges. I'm not going to bore you with those issues, but as a woman judge, obviously we had to make our mark and etc. I was quite happy and contented to be a judge because I was serving at a higher level, and as you've heard, 2016 I was elevated to Deputy Judge President, and I asked God, I said, God, are you not finished with me? I was happy to be a lawyer, I was happy to be a judge. Oops, Deputy Judge President, wow. And that is what the lawyers told me when I did the session with them in their briefing. I said, you are accomplished, you don't need to hear my story. They said, no, you must still come and tell your story to us. And then I realized, okay, I mustn't be so shy to come out and tell my story. I must claim it and own it and claim my space, because we don't want to brag, but the men can do it so beautifully and then we don't want to do it. Right. So I must say, oh, yes, time, okay, I'll honor the time. You see, that's why I didn't prepare a written speech. Something that is at the forefront of my mind at the moment, former minister, is the number of teenage pregnancies, children between 10 and 14. Wow, is that not abuse of young girls, children? What are we doing about this? So I asked the DG at the conference I was yesterday, I said, but we have the pink ladies, can't we have a helpline? Minister, she said to me, we've got the Poppy Act, they don't want to give information on these children. Poppy Act. I think we need to do something about it. We can't live in our ivory towers and in our comfort, and our young girls are being raped and abused. That is at the forefront of my mind at the moment. And I'm feeling a sense of helplessness as a community activist. I'm thinking, what can I do? And as a judge, we also have our handicaps. I will end now. I will end now. I'm not finished. A message to the ladies. A message to the ladies. I told the students at BLA, I was there on Friday. I told the students, the ladies, I spoke about Maya Angelou's poem, Phenomenal Woman, the poem by Maya Angelou. If you haven't read it, please go and read it. That's my message. And Maya Angelou her poem was targeted at the African American woman. You know, we are not the normal standard of beauty. But you know what? She inspired, she wanted all of us and herself to be phenomenally phenomenal. How do you become a phenomenal woman? How do you do that? You are yourself. You assert yourself. You don't try to be a people pleaser like I used to be. And we don't let other people define us. So ladies, if no one ever told you this, ladies, you are beautiful, you are valuable, and you are worthy. Happy Women's Day to all of you.